Okay, so in our last class, we had seen how to create the RDS, and we had some overviews on RDS and what is the RDS services being provided by Amazon, and what are the benefits being used while we use and usage, and what are the limitations and what are the functionalities, features, everything we discussed in our last class. Also, I showed you how using the RDS endpoint, how we can connect to the database from the CLI. Okay, so today I'll just show you a demo where we'll use the RDS endpoint in one of our application, and we'll see how we can connect to the database and insert, create some tables, insert some records, and display it. Normal SQL operations or database operations will do. Okay, before that, let me show you manually how we can use and execute some commands. So let's go to the RDS. Okay. And last class we had created the database, and it is still there. Okay, so I have not deleted it. I just still there. One second. Still there. Okay, so you can see here the DB instance, one instance is there, and yeah, my DB. So I need this endpoint to connect to the database. I already have shown you in our last class. Let me connect to the database. Okay, I have already there. Okay, the first thing is to connect your RDS endpoint or RDS DB instance. You should have the MySQL installed on your local machine or on your server from where you are connecting, because you need a client to connect, right? So that's why you have to install MySQL client first, and then you can able to connect to the database. Now, so what I do, I just use MySQL -h, okay, then provide the endpoint name as I already have told, and you have to put the port number. Remember, -p is in uppercase, 3306 default port, -u, provide the username. I think I have given as DB, okay, and then -p password. Yes, I will connect here as during the database, during the database engine installations and creations, we had created a database, and the database name was my database, right? So I can just, so you can use the command called show databases. So you the databases are available. So we had created this mine database. Okay, now using this mine database, I want to create a table on this mine database. Okay, on this database. And I'll just create a schema. Now let me just use this one, use. Okay, so what I'll do here, let's see if we have any tables available here. Okay, no tables there. Let's go ahead and create a table. So you must be aware about how to create some, most of you may be familiar with creating database queries and creating tables and creating schemas and all these things, right? Some little ideas you might have on databases. Okay, so I'm not going to teach you on any databases, so I'll just use some commands, okay, to create some tables and to use something. So I already have prepared something, so I'll just use this one. So I'll just use some create table. Okay, the table name will be suppose candidate, right? I'll just use some table name called candidate, and what happens here, I'm just using some ID and auto increment, and we're going to make this one is primary key, and use one first name, last name, and email. Okay, so all these things I'm just simply copying this and pasting it. So create table candidate, ID, first name, last name, and email. Hit enter. So what happens? It's added. Now if I do so tables, right? See, we have a table created, candidate. So I can describe the table to see the structure, right? Table structure. So you can see here, tables be added to the database. Okay, now it is very simple. I created, and we can similarly we can insert some records also. Okay, so very quickly I'll do it because we'll just move forward. So insert into candidate and first name, last name, email. Okay, hit enter. I missed something. Insert into table values. Okay, I just missed something. Let's see what happened here. I unnecessarily back. Okay, here what I can do here. So the command, whatever I executed, right here, extra double quote is there. That's why it was hanging over there, right? So just remove this double quote and copy this. Paste it here. Okay. So one rows affected one rows. Now, if I do here, select star from candidates. Simple query. I just wrote it here. So what this is candidate. Sorry, spelling mistake. Candidate. Okay. Now we can see here we have one ID. As ID we had given auto increment and also it is a primary key. So I don't have to provide anything. So simply I just wrote it down first and last. Similarly, you can record as many records you want to insert. You can do that. Okay. This is the manual ways we saw how to create the tables, insert records, and all. This is the SQL things, but that is not our aim to do. So our thing is to know how we can use the RDS database, RDS DB instance. Okay. Now this is the.
Sir, can we do? Can we delete one data?
Yeah, sure. So let me insert one more and then delete something from there. Okay. So
can we means also multiple data in one set entry?
The same, see, in database, right? The same things, whatever you use, right? Same queries, same delete operation, same delete table, everything. Because this is a database, right? Whatever on premises you execute the command, the same thing you can execute here. You can execute the procedure, you can execute, you can trigger, you can anything, whatever you want, you can just execute. You can write the PL statements, functions, everything. Okay, you can automate the SQL things, all those things you can do. Right. So one second, let me insert one more thing and we can delete it. Right. It's like similar on-premises database, right? Only thing is it is installed. There is endpoint we are going to use on the cloud. That's all. Because see, as I told, right, you don't get confused about the database. Whatever you are using will be totally different. No, we are using the same thing. But the only thing is we are using the cloud service provider. We are using the AWS service. And AWS, as it is a managed service, AWS giving infrastructure for you, giving platform for you, and where you are just installing, just creating the RDS database for you, right? The RDS service being provided by the AWS. That's all. You are not going to use any infrastructure, your own infrastructure, your own platform, your own operating system, your own virtual machines, anything. You are simply installing some database based on your choice. They're providing the choices of creating your databases. And then you are using whatever you normally use on premises, right? The same thing you can do here. Now, what I need, suppose I installed it, select star from. Okay, so here you can see, so two things I've been added, ID 1 and 2, both things you can see here. Two records been added here, right? And I can just delete a record, right? Delete from table, right? Delete from candidate. If I'm writing the statement correctly. Okay. Delete from candidate where ID equal to 2. Okay. Good. So it deleted the record. See, delete from candidate where ID equal to 2. Now, if I do select start from candidates, 1 records. The same SQL statement, same SQL operations you can do it. Okay. Because you are thinking like you are just going to use the on-premises database. Right? It is no difference there. Only thing is those things will be managed by AWS. That's all. You are not going to manage the database, going to manage the infrastructure, right? Any upgradations or any OS patches or anything. You don't have to worry about that. Okay? Everything will be managed by AWS. You only have to focus on your database creation, DBA part, and your adding, recording, and using that. Okay, that's all about the manual things. Now let's go ahead and see how the same things can be added in one of the applications, and how a development people, how the development guy can use the RDS endpoint and all the informations to create the databases using the APIs or applications. Okay. So let me come out from here, exit. Now, I have, okay, so manual things, everyone clear about the manual things, right? How we can connect and execute the database operations and all these things, okay? So you can create databases also. You can create the database also. Okay, let me just go through again. And as I told, we can create the database. So the database, whatever we created the database on during the RDS service creation, right? There we created when we created the DB instance, that time we provided to create the database. Okay, now if you want to create another database, on this DB server or in this DB instance, how we'll do that? It is very simple. Okay, so as I told you, we have only our my database, which was created during the DB instance creation. Now I want to create another database. So the simple command is create database and the database name, right? Hope this is the correct one. Create database and database name. Suppose I'll give DevOps DB. DevOps DB. So it's created now. Another database is created. Now we can just do so databases. See, DevOps DB is now created. And if you want to create any table, n number of tables you can create here, n number of records you can insert any table. Okay, that's the simple normal database operations you can do it. And if you want to use it, simple things, you have to just go DevOps DB. Sorry, use DevOps DB. So you can see here database changed to DevOps DB. Now we can do any operations we can perform here. Okay, that's all. So let's move forward. Now what we'll do here, and I have created an application. Sorry. So my applications is there in my Apache home directory, like var www HTML. And here I have created one Apache applications and the one demo where I'm just going to display this RDS demo. Okay, the name is RDS demo. This is the application which I'm going to show you a demo where we have to use the things, right? The RDS endpoint, user ID, password, and the databases, everything we do. Now, what I will do here, we can see, and one thing, the prerequisites to run this application, guys, you need to practice, right? So what you have to do, you have to install your Apache, right? So I have already these things prepared here. I'll just ping you. Okay, this application is there. So what I'm going to do here, install Apache and PHP. So what you need, these things to be installed on your machine whenever you're going to use this at this endpoint to run any application, as this is a PHP application, okay? As this is a PHP application, and all these things is required to be installed. And remember, these commands, whatever I'm showing you, is related to your Ubuntu software, Ubuntu OS operating system, okay? For Yum, you have to install accordingly for Yum also. For me, actually, for my case here, I am using Amazon Linux, where I have used different packages to install MySQL, PHP, and Apache server. That is called the LAMP, like Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. LAMP server. I have few videos on LAMP automations, LAMP servers on my YouTube channel. If you want, go through that and just try to install. See, this is very good fun, guys, and you'll get good hands-on, right? If you are passionate about doing something like creating websites, creating web applications, anything, and you need a development platform. Okay, you need a development platform. You can use this one to do that, as it is giving free, right? All the services, whatever is giving free, you can easily use those services and do all your development things, right? And it's free. You don't have to pay anything, right? If there is something you have to pay, then you may not so interest of doing that, as it is giving free. Whenever you get some free time, you just go ahead and do your development passions, whatever you have. So we have see this endpoint we have. Now let me show you these applications, how this look like. So let me just go to this RDS Demo, and remember everything is being installed on this machine. Okay, on this server I have installed all these things. So PHP, MySQL, everything has been installed. Okay, so to know whether the PHP has been successfully installed or not, so we can just run one of the things is PHP info.php. It's very simple thing. So it will have one info method, right? PHP info method, which will display you what a kind of PHP is being installed there. Okay. So if I do as it is under root, so I can just have to use sudo cat. So, sudo cat. So it's just using one PHP info, right? So if I go here and just use the server, right? I'll just go here, use my city instance IP address. Okay, I'll show you everything from the scratch so that it will not difficult for you to practice, and you can easily do that, right? So get the IP address. So I have a LAMP server installed here, and I have a fully automations using manual process also, as well as I have automated this stuff using Terraform also. So once we cover the Terraform, it will be easy to you to create the servers, and so in Terraform as well as in Ansible also. So automated things are there. So you can use that one to automate any server, right? So I can use this, and suppose I need this PHP info dot PHP, right? So that is the function I am using. If you use that, if PHP is installed successfully, you can get this 7.2 PHP version is being installed, and all this information you Apache, whatever the Apache handler is installed, right? Apache environment, HTTP, and all these informations, you'll get it over here. That's fine. It's not our things to go with PHP and all. So I was showing you whether the PHP installed or not, how you get it, right? So let's close that one. So what do we need? We need to focus about our RDS application and the demo, whatever. Okay. So I have kept it under Apache root directory where to show you RDS demo. And this RDS demo has few files, okay, with the index.html, which will call these files, create, I have some PHP table, create table, insert record, and show users. Okay, so let's just open this RDS demo. If I just go ahead and use this IP again, and I'll just put RDS demo here, and it will show us this simple application, which will have a create, insert button, and show button. So 3 buttons are there. If I click create, it will create automatically a table there and insert some records and show some results there. Okay, so let's how we can do that and where we have to modify the things. That's our motto, right? So we have to first modify the things in our different PHP files are there, right? Okay. So here what happens, the basic things I have done, I have not made it too complicated. So the basic things I have done, so all these files, we need to modify the user ID and passwords and the server details. Okay, I'll show you how we can segregate the user ID and password and put a different file, and that file can be called in our applications. Okay, but just wait for that. Now, let me edit all these things. We have to use sudo and sudo vi create table.php. So what you can see here in the PHP file, okay, this file could be your Java file, could be your .NET file, and anything. So any configuration file, any INI file. So what you have to use the RDS endpoint as your server name or host name. Okay, as your server name or host name. So where you will get, as I already have shown you, you have to just get this RDS endpoint from here, endpoint and port, right? So we need all these informations first. Let's copy this one, go here and delete this. So what I can do here, simply I delete this, post the new one. Got it? I got this 90 and this is pasted. Now what do we have to do? We have to edit these things also, right? And the username was DB admin. Okay. And the password is actually, I'm going to show you here. The password, you can use different encryption mechanism, and you can config file, you can store your password there. It is not the right way to use the password directly. Okay, so this is not the good way. So the DB admin, they knows how to set up these passwords in the DB config areas, and they can use the passwords differently. So for the basic demo in our how we need to understand how it works. I'm just writing it down. Okay. So, and the DB name. So the database name is most important. The DB database name is my database. These things we have, right? My DB and all these things have been added, and these are the codes which is being written to create the tables in PHP. We don't have to just go through and run this PHP now. So you can see where you have to update these details in your application. Okay, as I said, it could be your Java config file, Java .NET config file, or Java project file, or any API you are writing, you have to put it there. Similarly, we need to update the rest of the things like, I'll just quickly do that. Insert record, okay, and here, and you have to do the same ways, right? What I'll do, I'll just copy the things from here. Unnecessary, I'll just type from this thing. I just copied it. Now let's go ahead and insert, and here if I go here. Okay, the same thing I pasted it here. Okay. But this is not the right way for a developer to do, and we at least can create a config file and put it there, everything, and then call those config file in every record. That is what we do. But for you, a simple demo, yesterday I created all these things to do that, so that's fine. Okay, and for your understanding, only I'm doing all this. Now let's remove this one and update the same thing, so user PHP as well, right? So. Fine, all done now. there is a mistake, and you can see here it is not serve extra views. Saved. Okay, so everything I saved it here. Now, what I can do, simple things, is to click the buttons here. Now all done, everything in this index.html. Because if I see this index, if you see this index.html, in when I click on the create, it will call create table.php. When I click on insert, it will call the insert record, and when I use show, it will just show the user. Okay, so if I go here and check this index.html, right? So index.html, you can see here it's just calling this create table, insert record, and show user. Okay, that's what it does. Now let me go ahead and click on this create record. What is this? Table user created successfully. Okay, now let me go back, and if I want to insert something, new record, inserted your database. Now show tables here. Okay, so what says access denied for user 1 and 7 using password? Yes. So if I go here, let's check and verify why it is the access is denied. Okay, now let's go. And okay, so what we did it here, by through the application, we created a table, right? We created a table under my database and inserted some records, right? Let's go ahead and manually check whether it is created or not, whether it is created or not. So what I do here, simply use the things here. So use database. Then, so if I do here, show tables, so another table also will have created, that name is user. Okay, we had a manually created candidate. Now we have another table called user, and if I use select star from user, so we can see here same things to be created. Okay, now we can see here, and also with the registration date, when the user is registered, everything is being added here. Okay, so this is extra column I have added in this API and application, whatever I'm showing you, right? This thing's been added. Now, what is due here? The thing is, why we need to find it out why it is so it's not says access denied. It's just so user.php. Okay. So that is the problem. Let me go ahead and just open. So we have so it says okay. So what is here actually? Here I'm using username, right? And here it is given only user. That's the problem. The variable is not taking the user. That's why access denied says, right? So there is a typo. So I just have to change this to username. Okay. Change this to username. Got it? Database username and password. That's good. Let's select this one. Save it. Now, if I go here, so reload this page and so here, it's not able to get user list. It's just giving this one, but it's not able to fetch the records from the database. Let's see again what could be the problem here. And, select star from the table, and we have just table name here, but we have not defined the table anywhere. We just use the $table, but the table is not defined anywhere, right? So this is how the development developer has to fix the issues, right? Fine. Just remove this and just provide hardcode it as user, right? Start. Good. Let's go here. Refresh this piece. It's not working. Let's cancel. Still, it's not working. Next time, please. Evening is my job. Hey guys, can you hear me?